Hi everyone! Today, let's talk about how to cite a magazine and a newspaper article in MLA format. The great news is that citing a magazine and citing a newspaper in MLA format is almost exactly the same. I have my format listed here on the screen. You would start with the author's last name in last name, comma, first name order, followed by a period. Then you would list the title of the article in quotation marks. You would then follow with a period inside of the quotation marks. Next, you will list the title of the magazine or the newspaper in italics, followed by a comma. Note that for newspapers only, if the name of the city is not included in the name of the newspaper, then include the name of the city in brackets after the newspaper. Then you should include the date. Use the most specific date you can find, which could be a full date, a month and a year, a seasonal date like spring 2021, or just a year. If you do have a full date, make sure you write it out in day, month, year format, and abbreviate the name of the month so that it's 3 letters, with the exception of May, June, and July. You'll then follow up with a comma. Next, include the page numbers for the source. It is possible that if you are reading a newspaper or magazine online that you might not have page numbers, so if you don't have page numbers, don't try to make them up. Just skip it. Close out with a period. Finally, you will need to include the name of the database that you found the newspaper or magazine article in. If you found it through one of the library databases, include the name of the database in italics and close out with a period. So let's do some practice. I am going to cite this newspaper article here. Spartanburg restaurant owners receive the Order of the Palmetto. So first let's start with the author's name. And I can find the author's name here, next to where it says byline. I will write out the author's name in last name, comma, first name order. So Anderson Trevor, followed by a period. Next, I'll include the title of the article in quotation marks. And the title of the article is Spartanburg restaurant owners receive Order of the Palmetto. And then I'll put a period inside of the quotation marks. You'll also want to keep in mind that in MLA format, you should use title casing for your titles. That means all of the important words of your title should be capitalized, which is what I did here. I capitalized some of the different words in my title that weren't already capitalized in the original article. So next, we are going to need to include the name of the newspaper in italics. And the name of the newspaper is the Herald Journal. The Herald Journal is a newspaper from Spartanburg, but since Spartanburg isn't included in the name of the newspaper, I'm going to add brackets to say that this is a Spartanburg newspaper, followed by a comma. Next is going to be the date of publication in day, month, year order. And this article was published on April 16th, 2016. Notice that I shortened April to just the first 3 letters, and I'm going to follow up with a comma. So next I'm going to include page numbers. But in looking at my article, I don't see any page numbers listed, which is totally fine, so I'm just going to skip it. Since I don't have page numbers, I'm actually going to switch this comma with a period. And then finally, I'm going to include the name of the database, since I found this article in a database. And the name of the database is Gale One File News. I want to make sure that I italicize the name of the database and close out with a period at the end. The last thing I'm going to do is make sure that my citation is double-spaced and includes a hanging indent for the second line, since a citation takes up multiple lines. So now let's try citing a magazine article. I'm going to cite this article here, Establishing Effective Communication in Classrooms. And once again, I'm going to start with the author's name, which I found right here on the byline. The author's name is Rishi Jalan. So I will include the author's name in last name, comma, first name order. And then I'm going to include the title of the article in quotation marks, and followed with a period at the end, which is going to be inside the quotation mark. And notice that I have all of the important words capitalized in my title. So next, I'm going to need the name of the magazine. And the name of the magazine that this article was published in is called Business World. I'll make sure that the title of the magazine is in italics, and then I'll follow up with a comma. Next is going to be the date of the article. And this article was published on June 8th, 2021. So I'll put that in day, month, year order. So 8 June 2021. And I have June spelled out because it's a shorter month. I'll put a comma after the date. And here I'm looking for page numbers. And once again, I'm not seeing any page numbers. So I'm just going to skip that. And I'll change this comma into a period instead. The final thing that I'll need to do is include the name of the database that I found this article from. And the name of the database is going to be Gale Power Search. I want to make sure that the name of the database is in italics and closed out with another period. And I'll make sure that my citation is double spaced and has that hanging indent for the second line. And that's how you complete an MLA citation for both a newspaper and a magazine article. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask a librarian.